I do see a 7 out there on the Raiders, even money at PointsBet this morning. The total is 43.5 painted across the board. The biggest question mark, I think, tonight is what's going to happen with the Rams quarterback spot, right? Wolford is banged. I mean, the injury list tonight is a CVS receipt for both these teams and how long it is. Yeah. But Wolford was limited earlier in the week on Tuesday and Wednesday. He's questionable for tonight. And so do we see Baker Mayfield for the Rams?
Only if there's an injury, I think. The fact that he just got in the facility yesterday, I can't imagine they want him out there. I mean, how much can he know? I mean, with the playbook, right? Yep. And Wolford did practice Tuesday, and he is not happy with the acquisition of Mayfield. And Perkins certainly struggled when he was in there against Kansas City. The other thing, once a Raider fan, always a Raider fan. So they are playing good ball, but it's unfortunate they're not a playoff team right now. But in any event, it'll be a ton of Raider fans, and I can't imagine Rams fans would show their face after the worst seasons ever for a defending champion. Right. So it'll be a ton of Raider fans. But, the unknown is who's playing quarterback tonight.
Yep. So there is a ton of great content up right now on the VSiN website, vsin.com, one of which is from Steve Makinen, who runs numbers on everything for every sport for the website. He had a breakdown this week of quarterback betting trends and some that really stick out. Well, how about this with Derek Carr? Did you realize that he is only 13-23 straight up and 13-22-1 ATS against the NFC? The average line in those games, Raiders plus 1.3 points. Their team average for points scored, 19.9. That's it. And Derek Carr as a favorite. Yes, he's 26-19 straight up, which isn't great. But how about ATS, 15-28 against the spread, only 35%. Average line when they're favored, minus 3.9 points. Average points per game scored, 23.5. So in this spot, Derek Carr, Raiders have not been great.
Yeah, well, he's just an average quarterback when you look at it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't have a playoff win, and the fact that he's only got in there one time. And you still have these weapons, and how great Jacobs and Adams has been. So certainly those are concerning numbers coming into tonight. The other thing, does Adams eat? Does Adams go off with I know we'll do props coming up with the matchup against Ramsey. The run that this guy's been on, the last 5 games, 660 yards and 7 touchdowns, coupled with what Jacobs has done and how great he's been with the rushing yards. So, again, as I said Monday, there's a path here for them.
Yeah.
Because the schedule's very easy coming up. We know that they have a good team on paper, all the games that they blew early on, all the blown leads, and who knows how Kansas City will treat the game week 18.
You know, we did that segment, I think it was last week. We ranked the teams in the AFC that we don't want to see in the playoffs. I got to tell you, I mean, if the Raiders, let's say the record was completely flipped, which we briefly discussed yesterday, and they were 8-4, because, again, those were 3 games they could have, would have, should have won.
At least 2, right?
At least 2.
7-5 should be the worst case right now.
Let's pretend they're 7-5. The way this offense is humming right now, I mean, would you want to see? I mean, it's Derek Carr, I get that, but do you want to see this offense right now? I don't. I mean, Jacobs is running like a madman. He is. He's averaging 160 yards and a touchdown in his last 3 games. You just ran down the Adams numbers. He in some categories. Think about this. Devonte Adams is on pace after a slow start to have his best season of all time. And go back and look at his 2020 year with Aaron Rodgers when he missed 2.5 games. If he played the entire year that year, that would have been, I think, the best receiver season ever. It would have been better than what Cooper Kupp did last year or anything put up by Jerry Rice or Randy Moss, and he missed 2.5 games, and the numbers were still that high. And my question is, with Devonte Adams, and I'm watching them play every single week, this is how good the guy – he's open by 10 yards.
Yes.
I mean, he is putting moves on, and here's the thing, why I think he eats tonight. Jalen Ramsey is having his worst year ever as a pro.
Yes.
So if they stick him on Adams, I think it's going to be a smoke show tonight.
Wow. Okay. Plus the longest touchdown prop, right? Adams should get that himself, where it's 37, 39 yards. When you also have the great rushing attack, and you have to respect and sell out and stop the run, that the guy beats you like the overtime winner against Denver when he's wide open. The other thing, too, with the schedule, and you're a good-sized favorite tonight. You're favored at home against the Patriots. Then you have the Saturday night game, Christmas Eve, against Pittsburgh. Tough, but you can win that, too.
Yeah, you can.
And then you close, as you mentioned, out here with the San Francisco game. We don't know what we're going to get and expect out of Purdy. and how the Chiefs will treat Week 18. The game might be meaningless for them. Or they you get that news where, hey, the Bills are already up 3 scores in their game, so that the Chiefs can't get the 1 seed, and Andy Reid pulls everybody. So between the Chargers, the funk that they're in, who knows what the Jets are going to do and what their record's going to be like. Certainly 9-8 can do it if you're the Raiders.
Yeah, yep. So the Raiders the last 3 weeks, all wins. I know that was a lower scoring game against the Broncos, but guess what? That's how they play in every single one of their games, except one, when the Raiders actually scored 30-plus points against them earlier in the year. But the last 3 weeks, their numbers, when you look at expected points added in certain categories, they're top 5 in the league in a lot of these categories. And where they're not top 5, they're top 10, basically. And then I looked at the Rams offense and the defense since Week 10. That's mostly without Matthew Stafford. He did play in one of the games, but he got hurt and he had to leave. It doesn't matter where you're looking. If you want to look on offense or defense, the only thing where the Rams really stick out is against the rush. So that's why I find the matchup tonight fascinating with Jacobs because he's blistering hot, but yet teams are not great at running the ball against this Rams defense. That's the one bright spot right now. And other than that, oh, man, maybe Cam Akers scoring a couple of times last week?
That wasn't bad. Yeah. I think he's 44.5. Well, I think I want him over if it's going to be Perkins. I think because if it's Wolford, they'll at least try to throw the ball. They didn't really try to throw the ball against Kansas City, and they were down big for much of that game. So depending on who the quarterback's going to be, I think that if it's Perkins, I want Akers. If not, I think they'll throw a lot more than Wolford.
Yep. So will we see Baker Mayfield tonight? Here is Rams head coach Sean McVay telling everybody what he needed to see from Mayfield this week for him to have a chance to play tonight.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. I think part of it too is seeing how John feels. But really it's, getting it, to maximize, all the time that we have to be able to get him up to speed. There are some similarities to, systems that he's run in previous years and at previous places where there's a similar vernacular and verbiage, or he might've called one thing, something. And he's like, oh, okay, this is what I've called it. So, we'll really see. I mean, it's 12 o'clock right now. I mean, literally he just got here, about 14 hours ago when we ended up starting to meet with him. So it is very early for me to say anything that would, be accurate because still got, plenty of time to be able to evaluate and see exactly where that leaves us for tomorrow at 5.
I'll ask you this. If we found out during the show that the Rams have to go with Mayfield because Wolford can't play tonight, again, listed as questionable, and they don't want to plug Perkins back out there.
Well, why not, though?
I don't know. I think you would.
Yeah, why
I think you would.
Well, Wolford's hurt and he had the neck injury. Why even? The season's over.
Is.
That's why it's a fascinating handicap tonight. Even though everyone's watching, it's a historic season for all the wrong reasons. You're the defending champs. You're going to win 3 or 4 games, and everyone's hurt. So why not just put Perkins in there and just say, let's get the hell out of here and end this? There's no reason to play Mayfield, and there's no reason to play Wolford if he's banged up, even though he was limited in practice and went out there. Yep. Just there's no point. You're 3-9.
Yeah, put it this way: if we let's say that it was floating out there that guys, look, Mayfield's going to go tonight. I would bet the Raiders right now, but I don't want to bet the Raiders right now because I think the Rams can maybe be feisty tonight. But if it's Mayfield,
if it's Wolford, yes, I think they can be feisty.
Yeah,
I mean they were right there with Seattle. But if it's Perkins or Mayfield, I mean,
I don't want him.
Yeah, preseason's preseason. But other than that, Perkins hasn't shown anything, and he's only been in there on a limited basis like the Kansas City game. And then what can Mayfield possibly know and do when he knows the playbook? He's been awful the last couple of years, and he lost his job to Darnold.
Now, how about this angle? Do you want to look for a Rams player to score the first touchdown tonight? Again, one more piece of content up on VSiN.com. Producer Stephanie here behind the scenes on one of the afternoon shows put this together. She looked at every single team and broke this down. I tweeted it out last night. It's amazing, right? Do you realize the Raiders have only scored the first touchdown in their 12 games 3 times this year? That's it.
Great article.
The opposing team has scored the first touchdown 9 times.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pick 6 last week.
That's right.
They fall behind.
Yeah.
That's staggering. That number, and then 5 games in a row and 9 games on the season decided by a touchdown or fewer. And unlike the Vikings, it's going against them for much of the year until the last couple of weeks.
Maybe you want to take a shot with somebody like Van Jefferson tonight.
Yeah.
Look at that. That's a great breakdown. The Colts, of course, they've only scored the first touchdown 3 times in 13 games. The Cardinals have been
we knew that because they're so bad in the first quarter. But look
Look at the Packers. Remember how they were so good before? They get the opening kickoff, bam, go down and score a touchdown. No, not the case anymore.
Gruden was very good with that.
Excellent.
That's a bad job by McDaniels.
Visit VSiN.com to get current odds, listen for free, find showtimes, and download VSiN sports betting podcasts.